So we're continuing the Chazzarah. We're in the middle of Siman Tzadi Beis, Sif Ches. Machvas shel chalav shenosku b'kira tachas kedeiros shel basar. You take a machavas, a pan of milk, and you put it under a pat of meat in the kira. So the case over here is talking about it's in a closed-in area, a pot with milk in it, and on top of that you have a flesh-sugar pot. The zayah from the milk of the pot, we're talking about there is milk inside the pot, the bottom one, the machavas, and that gives up its zayah, and that's as if the milk itself is going up into the kedera on top of it. So you have milk going into a flesh-sugar pot. So basically, a similar halacha we had before, tipas chalav, that's fell on a kedera b'vachutz. Here you have a bunch of tipas. The whole zayah that's coming up into the pot is going into the flesh-sugar pot. So if there was milk in the pot, then be'inan samach, he needs 60 keneged the milk in the machavas, betafshul shebekdeira neged hachalav shebemachavas. Keneged all the chalav in the machavas, whatever there was, you have to have 60 in the pot. In order for the pot to be kosher, you have to have 60 in the pot keneged the chalav shebemachavas. Now v'chol zeh mayri shemachavas megula. The machavas is uncovered. V'azeya oila min ha-Michel atzmon l'gedeira she'aleha. The zayah is going up from the food straight to the top pot. There's no cover. V'gam mayri shu'b'korav kol kach she'yatzledes v'zayah v'mokim she'negeya b'gedeira. The zayah has to be hot, has to be yatzledes boy. Aval ein hayatzledes v'zayah hakol shari. If the zayah is not yatzledes, everything is mutter. So this is the common shadla. You have a pot that's cooking and the zayah goes up. So if it's in the oven, so first of all, a lot of places come in and say the whole chum here is it's in a closed oven and it's right on top of each other. So it's in a closed area, the zayah goes directly up into the pot on top of it, and therefore it goes in. But if you have it in an open area, the zayah goes up, the pot is not so close. So if you put your hand on top of it and it's not yet at this point, it's mutter.
Our oven does not apply for this.
Our oven does. If you have a milk like a pot and a flesh pot in the oven at the same time.
Racks, yeah, too close.
If you have two racks, if you have a milk like a pot with milk inside, and then you have a flesh pot on top of it, you have the same problem. But there's only if there's milk in the pot. If you have, let's say, water in the pot, it's not a problem. Because the water, even though it's bringing up the time of the chalav, it's already not by not, it's all that tearing.
What if there was 60 in the middle of the pot against the chalav in the machavas? Let's say you had only a small amount of milk in the machavas, let's say one kazais, and the pot itself was 60 kazais in the middle of the pot. Could you say that the milk in the middle of the pot is batal, and then no tam gets into the...
What are you getting by saying this? What are you trying to gain by saying this?
Go straight up.
The food is still okay. The
food is okay anyway. If you have 60 going straight into the pot...
Well, what's the status of the pot?
Of the flesh-sugar pot?
But maybe you don't have,
flesh-sugar pot...
But maybe you don't have 60 of tafshil against the challah. You have 60 of ma'at.
Oh, so you want to know if you could include the pot itself with 60 keneged the milk. That's what you want to know, right?
Yes. Okay, yeah.
So the answer is you can't. Because we don't know. Maybe the pot is full of basar. We don't know what's in the pot.
But if it is full of blias of basar, then it's kind of mevatel.
It's mevatel. If it's not full of blias of basar, then it won't be mevatel. You don't know how much is in the pot. We never mitzvah the pot. So also we would mitzvah the pot. Right? When the tipas challah fall keneged tafshil, we say it goes into the tafshil. You need shishim in the tafshil. Keneged tipa. We never mitzvah the pot. Same thing over here. You will not be mitzvah the pot.
But the pot would be also.
So the pot will be the same thing as tipas challah. We said before the pot is also. Right? If you have tipas chalav going into a pot.
Tipas chalav we didn't construct. To some degree we did. We said if the tipa falls on the rekan and it spreads so far that there's 60 against the tipa, then it's batal. We were worried, Choshes, that
we don't know.
Spread.
Right, so we don't know.
But if it would have spread, then in that instance it would.
So we'll say it after the pot, but you're not going to say that we'll starve that to be about the tafshil.
Okay.
That we didn't say. We go the chumrah both ways.
Right.
But after the pot, we can't be mitzvah the pot to to be mevatel tipas cholav. So say, okay, you'll never be able to starve the pot into the shishim. From the shishim and the tafshil. That's a good question. Why can't you be mitzaref the pot?
But it works both ways. You could be mitzaref what's in the pot to be mevatel. You could also add it to make it worse. In other words, if you have now a cholav in a cholav machabas, you can actually say that there's more by adding the blias in the milked pot.
So that's the question. Do we add the blias in the milk in the pot?
Right. You want to be matzeret, right? You can go the other way.
So we don't. We're not.
You only go by only by the blias. It doesn't go. You don't go either way.
Right. Correct. So here you have a kula. You're not mitzaref. Let's say a milk in the pot. You're not mitzaref the blias of the milk in the pot to need that connected in the flesh of the tafshil to need shishim in the tafshil connected the blias in the pot and the milk.
Right.
How are the blias getting out of the pot?
From the milk. The milk is being out.
It's hot.
If he wanted to be matzeret, I'm saying maybe it goes the other way too. Right?
Yeah, very good. You won't be mitzaref. You won't need shishim connected the pot and the tafshil.
But the blias that are in the bottom pot, they're milky blias.
Milk is the blias.
Right. But
So why just question whether those blias are going to start with the milk?
Right. You only have to count against the
Shishim against the milk.
In the milk, not in the blias.
Yeah.
Not against the
You want
blias.
to be matzeret can go this way, and I'm saying you don't even count it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is only if the zayah that goes up is hot when it touches the top pot. So Messiah says if you're in the oven, maybe the zayah will be hot. It stays hot. But if you're in an open area, the zayah usually spreads out and doesn't end up being yatsa ledes when it reaches the top. Usually not. Usually zayah does not end up going on top and being yatsa ledes boy. If you right on top of the pot, yes. If you're a little further up, it's not. Now, okay, let's speak about the zayah for a minute. So therefore, okay, now speak of the zayah when we finish the Rimah. So look in the Dogma of where the Dogma of says, "Zayah oila v'nivla b'kedayah v'yisrasa." You have a Dogma of and also Chanarach is on Amud Aleph. The left side. No, it's on the page. On the side over there, right? Yeah. So Hazayah oila v'nivla b'kedayah v'yisrasa v'gam ha'machavas ne'esara she'hazayah ne'esara v'yisrasa. Dogma of holds the zayah goes up, touches the flesh of the pot, and it comes back down also. So the zayah will pull out the blias of the flesh of the pot and aser the milk of the pot that's under it also. You don't say it only goes up.
What's the mechanics? Because when that zayah comes back down again, it's cold already, no?
No, it's still hot.
It's hot from the now from the.
As soon as it touches the pot, it cools down.
Maybe the pot's hot.
The body is hot.
It's molten, yeah.
The question is
First of all, the pot could be hot. And even the pot is not hot. Let's say the zayah goes up, and touches the pot, and it comes back down.
How does it get back?
How does zayah come back down? So either some of want to say pshat is there's some achluchas in the pot. The zayah itself is wet. The condensation drips back down.
Say it's cold.
That's my
It drips back down.
It's gonna be hot.
Or some of want to say since the zayah is stuck into the milk pot, the flesh of the pot, it's as if it's tafshel. We had before that if you have a cover of a pot, it's like the whole place is one big tafshel. So the zayah just brings the blias in the pot back into the bottom. But don't forget, it has to be in a very small area. If it's in a big area, I think the Prichadosh speaks out. If it's an open area, and the zayah can't be condensed so much that you can bring the blias back and forth. We're talking about a very condensed area. So then the zayah could bring the fleshik blias from the pot into the milk of the pot, and the milk of the pot will also be also.
Right, because like even in the next shtickle in the Ramah here, where it says you can hang meat over.
Right.
Over it, so, he's talking about the meat, but what about the milk that it's hanging over? Like,
does it drip down?
Aren't we afraid?
Yeah. So we'll see about that. If it drips back down.
It's a distance.
It's almost like a nitzuk.
It's a distance.
Right. But I didn't see that washing. I thought it once. I was looking for it now when I was preparing this year. I did remember somebody says the washing of nitzuk Hebrew. That it's attached, therefore it asers. But I didn't. I couldn't find it now. I couldn't find that lashon anywhere. This is Hebrew.
Nowhere in this conversation of Zayah do we have any discussion about the size like we do by Reifa.
What do you mean
the
it's
size
fine?
of the oven. It makes no difference. Here it's only...
No, here Zayah depends if the Zayah is Yatsa Levis part when it reaches the
So
top.
it makes no difference. In those,
Right.
you have to be Mishar by the actual
Right.
Zayah on the Ziyat.
Right.
No matter how big the oven
How big the oven is, how small is, makes a difference.
there's no head.
And the difference is because Reicha is something you don't see.
Right.
Zayah is something you see. Zayah is
You can put your hand on the
Yeah.
on the Zayah, and then you could say till here.
Right.
So you don't need
And then you can feel.
by
Right.
size.
Correct. Reicha is not milk, right? There's nothing there.
Right.
So I might say if it's very condensed, we can only be Meshayir it with a shear that we say, oh, here the Reicha is there. If it's bigger, the Reicha is not there. Because we don't see it. By Zayah we see. And Zayah you can feel if it's hot or not. So therefore it's only if the Zayah is hot and it touches the top pot. But the main let this point sorry. Therefore, you can hang meat to dry out on top of Kadeus pots of milk. And you're not worried about the Zayah that goes up. So now here, the Prima Gadol speaks out that what's happening here? The Zayah is going up and touching the milk. The meat, I'm sorry. So he's saying the Zayah is not Yatzladas boy. So one after the meat. Right? They have the condensation going up, it's not Yatzladas boy, therefore one after the meat. But they'll have some wetness on the meat. What happened to that? You can eat the meat and it still has some wetness on it for milk. So the Prima Gadol said that docha you do need. You do have to rinse off the piece of meat. Because if this condensation is going up, you're right, it won't be layer into it, it's not Yatzladas boy, but it's there. Therefore, a docha you'll need.
It's like a too cold touch it in coffee shop.
Right, it's like cold milk touching meat. You have to wash it off.
What's the assumption that the Zayah is not Yatzladas?
No, they knew the case was it was hanging on top of the milk like a pot. It wasn't Yatzladas. You're right. If you see it's Yatzladas boy, it's going to answer it.
Right.
The chain is since if it's not Yatzladas boy, it's mutter. Therefore, you can hang it on top of pots because it wasn't Yatzladas boy.
Right.
Now, Zayah fit to be Yatzladas boy has to be very, very close to the pot.
Right.
And that's why they speak about, the spices that you use for the pots, for you pour it in. Milchiks, you have to have separate spices for milchiks and for fleishiks. So the mice of the Yatzladas, the Zayah that touches it is not Yatzladas boy. It has to be very close to the pot. So Al Machmir say, but the Zayah itself ends up in the spices. And then you need Hadocha. And you can't do Hadocha on the spices. So for that you have to be careful. Be'em. So there's two things over here. There's Yatzladas bar, the Zayah, which is Baleya into it, which we say now, it's not Yatzladas bar, it's not Baleya into it, but then you have also the Be'em of the Zayah. It could be it's cold, but it's there. So for that you also have to be careful for. So if you put in a spice into a jungle and then you see it's wet on top, that could be fleishiks. So you have to do Hadocha. It's not Shaykh to do Hadocha on the spice. So even though it's not Yatzladas bar, you have to be careful not to use it for milchiks. If you see the end there.
I want to point out that I just found it in the Mishpah Zahav and in Semicha test. He uses the lashon of mitzvah kibur there.
Oh, it does use it. Okay, very good. I was looking for it.
Yeah.
By the way, they use this as the foundation for the idea of whether you can put in the same tunnel.
Yeah. So here the place
different times, right?
Right. Here the place can go into. Here's where Michel comes from. If you use the same oven for milk and fleishiks. The problem is, milchiks and fleishiks by Zayah, let's even say it becomes usher. Let's even say the Zayah is Yatzladas bar, right? So Zayah goes up. You have a milchik pot in the oven. You're cooking or fleishiks. You're cooking chicken in your oven, and it goes up, and it touches the top of the oven, right? So now the oven becomes fleishiks. If it's Yatzladas boy. Now, if it's Yatzladas boy, it's very possible in the oven for it to be Yatzladas boy. So now the oven becomes fleishiks. But the question is, so now I'm going to use milchiks, right? How does it get back down into my food? How does it get back down? So if you're going to say it's close enough, like I said before, it's a chibur, the Zayah brings it back and forth, then maybe in the charami, you can bring it from the walls of the oven into your pot. But to say that the Zayah is, if you look in your oven, you don't see Zayah by the top of your oven. It's very weird that you see smoke coming up, it hits the top of the oven.
Anyway, it's so hot there.
You don't see. That's the question. That's what they speak about today's ovens. There's a problem of Zayah, and then if the Zayah ends up coming back down into the food.
But we said that it goes up, for sure,
Right.
and Zaya can pull it out also.
Yeah, because it has to get back down into the food. That's because it has to get back down in your food.
If it's Reicha, it doesn't come out, but from Zaya,
Right,
everybody agrees that it comes
Right,
out.
so the question is, does the Zaya bring it, how does the Zaya bring it back down into your food? That's the question. So we said before, if it's a condensed area, we say the Zaya is like it's part of the top shoe, and it brings it back and forth. Right? The question is, in an oven, can you say that? Can you say the oven, by a closed pot, you say the Zaya is so strong that it brings it back and forth? Or a pot right on top of another pot also. Question is, in a big oven, could you say the Zaya has the courage to bring it out of the walls of the oven and bring it back down in? That's what the poskim are very busy with in today's ovens. There's a little hole and it pulls the Zaya out, so it never ends up bringing it back down, so it could be its mutter. That's the question of today's ovens.
So where do we hold? Because I thought that, the takana for that is to double wrap your...
You have to double wrap. For that you don't have to double wrap. For that you keep it as covered. We'll see now. The next halacha is hakol shari. If the machavas is covered, everything is mutter. Maybe the havesh take a day. It's not going to do bezu. Then I say zeh in the gear. Choshkem bezeya. If you have two pots, a milchik pot and a fleshik pot, that are sitting right on top of each other, it won't answer. Because the zeh can't go through the pot into the next pot. Because metal doesn't go from metal to metal. Right? The kedera to kedera, but like roitiv. There is no roitiv between the two pots. So therefore, one answer. So if you have a fleshik oven, you put milchik in the fleshik oven and you cover it. So even if there's zeh in the milchik pot itself, but it doesn't go up, so how does it become also? It can't become also.
Sometimes it comes out even when there is covered, right?
From the sides.
Yeah.
Okay, but it has to get back into your food. You have a little zeh coming out from the sides of foil, right? Fine. It has to get back into your food.
Come back in.
But if it comes at the sides, it's going to ask your oven again.
Okay, so maybe your oven will become also. Fine. But the milk that they cook in the oven won't become also.
So,
yeah, but you're doing... Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was saying, but you're doing bishul basar b'chalav, aren't you? I mean...
Okay. First has to be ben yomai, first of all, to be bishul basar b'chalav, A. And B, I don't know if you call it bishul. I don't know if you call it bishul basar b'chalav. I don't know if you call it bishul b'chalav. Zaya, I call Zaya bishul b'chalav. Because even we had in Semicha Zayin, right?
Because it's
Mu'ushan and Kavush and Tigel, these things is not called bishul.
No.
I don't even call this
Still
bishul.
machmir on that.
No, I'll tell you even more. You can't call bishul basar b'chalav. Because we saw someplace that in a pot, the blias is not called derech bishul. There's no isser, when you're cooking in a fleshing pot, milchiks, there's no isser bishul basar b'chalav.
Right.
You may ask for the milk, but there's no isser bishul basar b'chalav, because on blias in a pot, there's no din bishul basar b'chalav. Has to be be'en. It's not derech bishul b'chalav. So don't be a problem with bishul.
The Zaya that we're worried about here, the problem is that ostensibly the Zaya contains chalav or bus or whatever it is.
Right.
So why doesn't this come into the discussion of, depending on where that Zaya lands in the kedera, whether it's connected to Reikon or connected to the
No, that's not me.
kedera?
100%. It does depend. But we're talking about it's under a pot that has fleishiks in it. So this will connect to the top show.
Oh,
So it's right
It's
in
definitely going straight into the top show. It's going straight into the top show.
in which case...
And also, in general,
Yeah, the
Zaya isn't like at a specific point, like a drop. It's not like a Lipa, right? It's
Yeah,
it goes
all
under the
has to be all over.
We're treating them the same halachically, the drop and the zeh.
And Zaya, correct. Correct. But the Zaya has to be Yad Shaledes Boy when it hits the pot. At the same exact halacha as Tipas Cholav, 100%.
Okay, so it's the same principle.
Same principle. But here it's always connected to relative. So midham shekadesha nagas to bezu the ein eisen zeh zeh in the gear koshkem bezeya u'mei lechatchil yesh lazar b'chol zeh. So here it says the chatchil, you should be careful with all of this. The question what it means b'chol zeh. Here's the question I try to speak out that it means b'chol zeh, which a motion shows I don't know who speaks it out, that what is it b'chol zeh? It means in the case where state kedeiros the milchiks and fleshik, don't put a milchik pot on top of a fleshik pot, even though it's closed. Even though it's closed, don't put one on top of the next. But in the case where the zay is going up and the meat's all the way on top, and sayat to this boy, you have to be careful with that.
Is she endowed with the Sipsedas?
I go Shaydura.
What's she doing?
Yeah.
He quotes here, Mount Reuben.
It says that what?
What you just spoke out.
It's only the last thing of Machma, yeah. Only the last thing of Machma. Now, when the game is Zayed, there's an important Pischei Shuva here. Sifkat and Vav. What gives of Zayah? Everything gives of Zayah, only certain things give of Zayah. So we're looking at Pischei Shuva Vav. I am Primigadim, Arachayim, Hagoyis Rois, Isabet Orach, said the Shinai, Tamzach, Kotam Arambam. Avoid the dafka zayas mashkin kamoyu. Only the zayah that comes out of liquids has a din zayah. Aval oichlin kamoy chelev hamuhuta. If you have melted fats, ein zay also kamoyu. The zayah from that is not like itself. Im ken yesloden tuvo imoy machvas. Im hoye machavas mechalol lamata cham ulamaylo samach tavar kosher bazay oilach leslas bazeya efshesh lahat ayin sham. So we get to the Pischei Shuva brings down that not everything has zayah. He brings that only something that's a liquid has zayah, but anything that's chela, for example, even though it's muhutach now, doesn't have zayah. So that's a machlokes already. Some people hold that even though it was once solid, now it became a liquid, it still has zayah. But davar yavesh, their it doesn't have zayah.
But even the davar yavesh usually has some moisture in it.
That's not called zayah.
That's not called zayah.
It's not called zayah. So obviously not arguing over here in the mitzvahs if there's zayah or not. You can see if there's zayah. They're saying what's called zayah? What is a din zayah? So a liquid has a din zayah. A solid does not have a din zayah. So if you have a cake, we have even meat in the oven, and there's no liquid there, then it's not called zayah.
What do we call it?
It's smoke.
It's not called zayah. It's
It's always liquid. It's always liquid.
It's not called zayah. It doesn't have a din zayah.
Otherwise, it's going to burn.
But the meat has red.
Yeah, if it has right, there's something else. If it's a dry piece of meat. Yeah, if it's right, then it's not a zayah.
A dry piece of meat?
Yeah. So you're broiling a piece of meat.
Right. Okay.
So it's not called zayah.
Some steam comes off there.
So that steam is not called
There's always
zayah.
moisture in the meat.
That steam is not enough to be called zayah.
So you'll have a nut by nut there?
What do you mean not by not?
Will you have in terms of what?
You're burning your meat in an electric oven.
Nothing?
No, if you put
Nothing coming out of
nothing
the
coming out of it.
If you put a steak in a milking oven and you're boiling it,
So if you piece of meat in milk, according to this, it's mutter 100%.
and the oven's fine.
That was fine. Don't have to worry about it. Unless the end spritzes onto the thing, but if Asazaya itself, Tavid Yavesh is not a problem.
So the Pischei Shuva says that it only applies to liquids, but melted fats is not called liquid.
Right, that's what he said. That's his chiddush here.
That's weird.
The melted fat, since it comes from the solid, is not called liquid. And I said that's a machlokes. Everyone agrees to that.
Right.
Yeah.
But definitely in the case where it's a solid, even though you see some smoke coming up, it's not called zayah. That's not enough to be called zayah. Okay, Sif Test. Ner shel chelev, candle made out of fat, also ner shel shaiva, that's made like a ner of wax. Shenotaf imenu tipa al kli, ein tzarech kim grader. It dripped from that candle onto a kli, all you need is grader because it's called nifsach hakiluach, a drop of fat that came off the candle, has a din like irui, miklivishan let's say, and it's nifsach hakiluach, and falls onto another pot, all you need is grader, and it doesn't go into the walls of the pot. Aval chelev mahutach cham, chelev which is mahutach, which is a liquid, cham, and it's being heated now with the fire. Shenafa memenu tipa kli tzarech hagala. They need hagala. So here's a chumrah that chelev mahutach, it gets so hot. A kli rishon avach is iru kli rishon nifsach hakiluach doesn't go in. Only asks, it doesn't ask anything. You need grading. Here's a chumrah that if it's not a kli rishon, the chelev that's coming out of the pot was on the fire itself. The fire itself heated up that chelev. Therefore, even though it's nifsach hakiluach, there's a chumrah over here. That's the sif.
We were saying that the second chelev mechutach is like a tea light.
Yeah, a tea light is correct. A tea light, or any oil. Yeah. Tea light is a perfect example. First, the whole thing melts.
Even though it's it starts off like a candle, really.
Right, but now it's mutar.
But now it's mechuta,
Right.
and it's staying hot by the fire. The fire is heating that thing up.
Right.
That's much more hot.
That's
than
much
that
more
drop
hot
that
than the
drops
drop
right
that
from the
comes
candle.
off from the candle.
So that's why even by nifsach hiluach.
Right, and this is right. So this is a chiddush.
Right.
This is a chiddush. Usually nifsach hiluach
Right.
is mutar.
Right.
It's only greater. Here it's a chiddush that since it's directly from the fire, we give it a din of kli rishon and it's awesome. Now there's a taz here that goes through a long taz here. We're not going to go through the whole taz. I'll pick out one part about sticking a ladle into a pot. Now we know the halacha of a kli rishon. Anything comes from a kli rishon, lo nifsach hiluach, is awesome. However, if you put a ladle into a pot and take it out. So what's the halacha now with that ladle? Is that ladle a kli sheni or is that a kli rishon?
The pot was boiling, or
The pot was on the fire.
Oh, okay.
The pot was on the fire, it was a hot pot, it was over the fire, it's a kli rishon. You put something into it, so what happens is when you put the ladle into the pot, now it's in the kli rishon. When you're taking it out, so what is that? Became a kli sheni? So that's a shayla.
So before we go there, what about if you took the pot itself and took it off the fire?
It's still a kli rishon.
It's
As long as it's-
It's still a kli
So
rishon.
as long as it's yatzel.
Yeah, it has to be a boy, for sure.
So once it cools down, it's not.
It's nothing. Something that's not Yasladis boy loses all its dinim. So which you can have, and we'll see later on.
There is a sheet that we have that you have even if it is yatzeledes off the fire, that it's still going to be and that's what you're saying, that it's still going to be, you're still going to keep it as a kli rishon.
Even if it's in a kli sheni. Even if it's in a kli sheni. A kli rishon shaloi al eish. Everyone agrees it's a kli rishon. The question is, you pour it out of the kli rishon into a kli sheni, and it's yatzeledes boy. There's the sheet that hold that still has a din of mevashal.
Of kli rishon.
Of kli rishon. It's still a din of kli rishon. To kli sheni, it's yatzeledes boy.
And here you're talking about a spoon that you put in, and now you take it out.
Now you take it out. So this is different than a kli sheni. Because a kli sheni was never a kli rishon.
So
A kli sheni was never a kli rishon. Here, the ladle was a kli rishon. It was in the pot. It was part of the kli rishon.
It has cold walls, and you
A
pour
kli sheni has,
it.
it's another story saying a kli sheni is the finest mecharavis. The walls cool down.
We were asking this morning. What's the difference between kli rishon shel gabe eish and a kli rishon? In other words, you take it off the fire.
There's no difference. There's no difference.
So why we call if you take an ur with a hot water
Only we had a toy over.
and put in the cup and pour the cup in another cup, it still should be clear rishon.
No, it's a kli sheni.
But it's very hot.
Doesn't make a difference. It's called kli sheni. It's called kli sheni.
No, but
It's possible.
With the finger, you're going to burn your finger.
Yeah, you can have. Eventually, Kulkai will get to it, or Hilchot Shabbos will get to it even more. You have a kli rishon, right? It's not as hot, and you have something that's a kli sheni. They're both yatzeledes boy. They have to be yatzeledes boy, but you have a kli sheni, and to you it looks like the kli sheni is much hotter than the kli rishon. Right? It's possible. You take something off the fire, it's boiling hot, they pour it into kli sheni, so what's in the kli sheni is very, very hot. And you can also have a kli rishon that's off the fire for a while, it cooled down a little bit. It's still yatzeledes boy, so it's possible the kli sheni could be hotter than kli rishon, and still kli sheni is not mevashal. It's possible.
It could be a function of the type of
Yeah, it could be the way the kli sheni is always getting cooler and cooler, and the kli rishon is not getting cooler so fast. So we can't get carried away by how hot it is. Once it's a yatzeledes boy, it's a kli rishon and it's more chodesh than a kli sheni. Even though to you put a thermometer and the kli sheni is be'etzem when she is hotter than the kli rishon, doesn't make a difference.
And
But
if
most
the
boys
is
can.
never mevashal, even if it's yatzeledes boy?
Kli sheni, correct. Well, it's a machlokes. It's a machlokes. Kli sheni of Pashtus is a machlokes. Kli shishi could be everyone's masking. It's not mevashal.
I think on Kali Bishul we're worried.
So kalavish is something else.
But that's when even if Kli
Yeah, because kalavish is not totally in yatzeledes boy or kli sheni.
Yeah.
Kalavish that's cooked very easily.
Cold.
Yeah.
Cold it could be.
Not cold. No, it has to be yatzeledes boy. It has to be. If it's not yatzeledes boy, it's cold.
Yeah.
It's the tea bag on Shabbos.
Yeah.
Kli Shlishi. Some people are still.
Right.
Yeah, some people doesn't like.
Fine. So if you look in the shach in the Tazamin, in the middle of the Tazim called Lamed, it says Kosav Marul Hilchos Pesach. See it in the Old Shulchan Aruch?
Yeah.
It's in the beginning of a line. Kosov b'marul hilchas Pesach. V'zel l'shoyne. V'margalai de iroi sheshefich haroischen al hakli lahagiloi yizor sheyishpoich hamayim haroischen dafka min hakli shebishlevoy. V'uat nika kli rishon. Pour it directly from the kli rishon. V'al yishoiv min hakli sheboy haroischen b'kli acher v'la'aretz emer lahagil. Don't take from the kli with a different kli and then pour it onto what you want to be magil. Mishum the kli sheshoiv imoy or kli sheni. The kli that you take the water out with it is called the kli sheni. And it's battle boy bishul haroischem tereb shemagilon. Before you even take it out, it's already bottle the resichas. Okay, but im shoya as a kli sheshoiv imoy toicha kli shemavashel by haroischem. You leave it inside the kli. And when that kli that you shave with is in the other kli rishon, it's mala resichos. Shape miskri gamu kli rishon akal l'shaynoi. It's also called a kli rishon. So it makes a difference. If you put up a ladle or a different pot as a pot of kli rishon and you take it out right away, so it's halacha is it's called a kli sheni. If you leave it in and the kli sheni gets hot and whatever's in it is bubbling, because of the resichos of the kli rishon, then even though you take it out of the water, it's called a kli rishon. It's called a kli rishon. So the Maisa in Hagala we don't go with this. In Hagala we hold that's what the long Taz speaks about. In Hagala we hold it's called a kli sheni, but in the Geya Bishul will be machmer that maybe it's called a kli rishon. There's a chiluk between Bishul and Hagala. Hagala Chumrah maybe. And Hagala we hold it's not called a kli rishon. In the Geya Bishul, in the Geya Shabbos, it could be it's called a kli rishon. Okay, 57 times the Gimel.
Sorry, so what happened to the spoon that we put into the? So come back to the spoon. The spoon goes into a kli rishon.
Right.
Comes out.
So it says, depends if it's mala resichas while it's in there.
So it's totally mismachlekes, so we...
Yes, if it's mala resichas while it's in there, the Taz brings down from the maril that's considered a kli rishon. He brings right not that way, the Taz. That's the long Taz over here.
Right.
At the end it comes out, for Hagala you can't be mekel. But for Bishul and Shabbos, we're machmer. If you look later on, if you look at all the end of the Taz, he means a bunch of riots. The Taz says, "Harav l'fneinu that Taisus and Stapku b'zeh v'hel l'chumra al derosh sham chato shem read have a kli rishon kivish et tzim in a yoyre merusach chenos atur v'unos am d'yut acheres hois lam Taisus v'diver mop ya goes ma'amin di Baruch shem tafon aleph mashmer she posak l'chumra to lehaver kli rishon. It's not like the Rishon, the Kosav Shom, the Ramah writes over there in Tzivah Taflin Aleph, which is Hilchas Hagala, V'ye'era aleihem roischin mikli Rishon. You should pour the roischin mikli Rishon. The last words of the long Taz. Arkein nira l'hachmik d'evrei HaTosfos. Therefore, says the Taz, I would like to be a machla like the Tosfos, and it's not considered a kli Rishon anymore.
So for Shabbos it is?
For Shabbos, the people that are machmer. We'll see for Shabbos, there could be some people that are machmer that for Shabbos would give it a din of a kli rishon. If you left it in there long enough, there was malar resichos while it was in that pot.
You never left Mungana. You just pick up the soup and put it in the plate.
But you can't do it a bunch of times.
You seconds take it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you don't leave it long enough, it's mutter. Okay, 7 times the Gimel. A pot they cooked in its meat, don't cook in its milk. If you cooked in it after benoisen tam. It's after benoisen tam. This is the Mechaber Shetasa who holds that you taste it. If there's you don't have to come out the shishim, you give it a guy to taste. If there's noisen tam into the milk from the Fleishik apart, it's also, the Ramah argues, the Tzarech L'Shar, negative Kol HaKadera, the Ramah says you have to have Shishim, connected the whole pot, because it doesn't rely on Timas Akum. So the Shach speaks out over here. If you look at the Shach, it's called Aleph, also been as in Tam, Klema Yitamenu Kfeila, and Yesh by Tam, Uchid Lewa, Shemes Adibeis, Adiches, Uchid Kresha B'Seisid, V'Rav, Ozal L'Tamei, Shekosav Shom, the Eine Hagen Lismach Atimas Eretz Echavim. We're not saying we have the team of a guy. That's the Mechaber and the Ramah, both the Shitasim. The Kach Kosev is Tzarech L'Shar Neged Kol HaKadera. You have to be Rishar connected the whole pot. Now, the Shach says, even though we know that there's never Shishim in the pot connected the pot itself. That's a klal we have. There's never Shishim in the pot connected the walls of the pot. So we cook Cholav in a Fleishik pot, automatically it's Asr. Why? Because there's no Shishim. Fa'af says the Shach, the Masha V'kama Duchti, the Ein Masha V'tach HaKli, Shishim connected Kol HaKli. So he gives two Tirutzim. Either Yesh Loimar, then the Chanami Kamar, Shetzarech L'Shar Neged Kol HaKadera, Ficha Chatav Shel Asr, because it's impossible to have 60 connected the pot. Hinami Mishchachas L'Pa'omim, She'eroichif HaKadera Gadol Kol Kach, She'yachzit G'mayim, She'shishim Negdoi, V'goyin She'nechush Tadak, V'rechov Gadol. Says the Shach, there is a case that's possible that the pot is very, very wide and very, very thin. So it's possible you can have a pot that there is shishim in the pot connected to the walls of the pot. It's not shchiach, but it's possible.
It's not. It's interesting. It makes that blanket statement because it's not the walls of the pot; it's the blias in the walls. No.
Right. So we always say.
It's hard. So a typical.
We assume that the walls have. We assume that the walls taken it all are full of blias.
We look at the walls full of blias.
Like a fry pan, something like a fry pan.
You know the maximum amount of blias is the size of the wall. Right?
Oh, the fry pan needle bit.
Very thin.
So basically, you assume the maximum.
We always mishayir. That's the next part of the shach. It's also important to see. We always mishayir. If you don't know, if you have a Fleishik pot, we're always mishayir connected. The thickness of the walls of the pot is full of blias, unless you know how much it was used for. If you look at the shach a little bit, the shach says, "Yeah, we call mokaim. Hadet tzarech l'shar neged kol hakadera, hayna b'gedera yishana, to le'yadina kama bola. Aval le'yadina kama bola, you know how much is in the pot. Ain't tzarech l'shar l'keneged habalua boy. Only connected how much was absorbed into the walls of the pot. But the also is having basic faith by God. It's $1 involved. The kama duchti. V'chein afilu in yishana, even if it's an old pot. But le'yadina kama bola el le'yadua kama bishleba toich meisleis. I know within the past 24 hours I only cooked in the pot a little bit, 2 kazesim. Then all you have to do is connect 2 kazesim. Not connected to all the walls of the pot. So we assume a pot that was cooked fleishiks in the pot, the walls are full of blias. If you don't know, if you know how much was cooked in the pot, then you only need shishim connected how much was cooked in the pot.
If you cook only a small amount, why don't we say that would be chanan going into chanan the kalim going in?
Correct. But let's say you cook 2 kazesim in the pot.
For sure, yeah.
You cook 2 kazesim in the pot. What's the chanan? It's a fleishik pot, right?
Right.
So you didn't use the pot for 24 hours.
Right.
I cooked now 2 kazesim in the pot. So what are you saying? Now what? Chanan and what?
When you cooked your first two
kazesim,
it should go. True, it's only 2 kazesim, but it goes with the whole pot.
And then what? So it goes throughout the whole pot.
Right. Now that cannot be mevatel, whatever you're going to have in the pot.
No, but if it goes throughout the whole pot, what's chanan? On the blias and the tam of gam? It's tam of gam. There's no chanan. Even if you're blias even if you're chanan on blias, it's only a fresh blias. If you have a fleishik pot that wasn't used, a fleishik pot that was.
You have two kazesim that you're cooking on Sunday morning, right? And you're making your pot. So we're saying now that if you come on Monday after Meis Li'ez, there's only going to you know how much is inside there, the 2 kazesim.
No, if you come on the morning, it's mutal gamri. It's past Meis Li'ez. You cooked it Sunday afternoon.
So good. So then Sunday afternoon it's even better. Then
2 kazesim
with the chanan is going to be more.
But what's the chanan? You're saying the chanan that what? The other blias of the pot, which are already nice time of gum. You can make a chanan from things that are nice time of gum. If you have blias in a pot that's 2 days old, and you cook a kazayas isser in the pot, all you have now is a kazayas isser, won't be chanan. If it's fresh blias in the pot, within 24 hours, then you can say chanan on those blias. But if it's old blias, you don't say chanan on old blias.
But there's not issue there yet.
Oh, it's another thing. I was waiting for that. There's no issue here. What's chanan? It's a meat and meat. There's no chanan yet.
All right.
That's the next step.
Right. Not even isser.
Right, it's not even isser. There's no chanan, there's no isser.
Right.
But even if it would be, that's why I gave a case of isser. Let's say you have isser. You're cooking your kazayas isser in a pot, but the blias are from 24 hours ago. You won't say chanan on the blias. Because blias that are 24 hours old is nothing.
Done.
You can't say chanan on them. Okay. So here we're talking about a pot where you cook milchiks in the pot and you knew you cooked fleishes within 24 hours. And there's more than you have shishim connected in the milk. Aval l'shor meis place kodesh v'shava havel l'nesam l'fgam u'mutzah tafshil u'mutzah tafshil. So we cook milchiks in a fleishig pot. It's not 24 hours. Halacha is the tafshil, the milchiks is mutter. Why? Because it's nice time of gam coming into the milchiks. It's mutter. Avlakadeira asura the basar bal basar bal chalav. You can't cook in the pot, not basar and not chalav. Now what's the reason why? Because you're not allowed to use a milchik pot, even though it's any ben yamoy for fleishiks. You're not allowed to use a fleishik pot, even though it's any ben yamoy for milchiks. Zero. But here, there's no isser in the walls of the pot now. The walls of the pot are 100% mutter. You have any ben yamoy of fleishiks, any ben yamoy of milchiks. They don't come together to make basar b'chalav. Therefore, the pot could be used for anything else. As a Ramah, avoshad dvarim mutter. You're allowed to use the pot to cook in it potatoes. Even though you have fleishig blias and you have milchik blias. Doesn't make a difference. They don't come together. That's what the Ramah says over here.
Sure. But both the things that are in the pot are already medle. That means they are all not with a regular time. So what's the problem of cooking something?
No, you're not cooking milchiks. Any ben yamoy of fleishiks even.
Okay.
So therefore you can't cook milchiks.
Okay.
Because there's any ben yamoy of fleishiks.
You can't make it fleishik, right?
Yeah, so you can't cook milchiks or fleishiks. If you have isser in the pot, let's say you have isser in the pot, that's any ben yamoy, you can't use the pot for anything. Here there's no isser in the pot. All you have is blias any ben yamoy of fleishiks and blias any ben yamoy of milchiks. Fine.
Okay. So
there's nothing wrong. They don't come together to make isser.
Like a spoon, though, we asked her the spoon.
What do you mean the spoon?
Because it was the same case of the spoon.
If you put a spoon into what? Any ben yamoy of fleishig pot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the Ramah says over here, the Shach speaks out. The Ramah says oshad dvar mutter. For everything else, it's mutter. We'll see later on that we don't use the pot for anything. Not even for shad dvarim. Not even for shad dvarim. If you look in the Shach, the end of Shach Sivkon Gimel. Ulkamon Simitali Dawid. A few lines from the end of the Shach. He says if you use a pot for anything else, afil l'chadchila. Ulkamon Simitali Dawid Sifhei Kosav Arab Noyagin Lasher Akli She'enei Ben Yemei Afil l'shad dvarim. We don't use this kli even for other things. Afil b'shenetcha b'Iraq kaf Ben Yemei. Even if you only stick in a spoon, a Ben Yemei spoon into a milchik pot, also you don't use the pot for anything. Afil l'shad dvarim. Sorry, in can kosher kan to the special by basar mamish. But tzarich leimin you can't sasam advarim le'inyan dina. Over here the Ramah is saying the halacha you can use the pot for anything you want. Now milchik, now fleishik shad dvarim you can use it for.
But you have it?
The minute, even the chatchila.
No, it says b'diavad.
Sure, it's mutter b'diavad. But the minhag is not to use the pot for anything, and not just that. He says later on, if you took a flesh with a spoon and you stuck it into an eine ben yemai milchik pot, also we don't use the pot for anything. We're very machmer. We'll see later on, we're very machmer. But that's only minhag. A minhag to be machmer. But me'ikir adin, this pot can be used for shar dvarim. Fine, says the Ramah, we didn't kiss the gdeira. the covering of the pot, let's say you take a fleishig covering, fleishig pot cover, and you put it on the milk in the pot, kedin kisig data, kedin data atma, the same thing as the data itself, that if it's eine ben yemai, it's mutter. V'yesh machmirim bekisur loymar, daf bish eine ben yemai, if the kisur of the data is eine ben yemai, dinai k'ilahu ben yemai, v'machmir. So you take you cook fleishiks in the milk of the pot, it's mutter. You're cooking the fleishiks in the fleishik pot, and you take a milk of the cover, and you put it onto the pot, now it becomes also already. It's a chumrah below tam. It doesn't understand why there's such a chumrah. Why should we machmer so much on the kisser of the pot? There's a reason why to be making without this. Then it could be makel. If you have any thing to be mitzvah, to be makel, you could be makel. So the more brings a chumrah, you take the cover of a pot, of a milchak pot, even though it's not a ben yemai, it's still atzmai. And the question is why? So the shach and the Taz both bring down a reason. If you look at the shach Shivkon Dalid, he says, in the beginning, he brings down to his chatos, the Das HaMachmir Mishum the Spiro, that the chomer isser zeya v'reicha me isser shwa yidei tam atzmai, which doesn't understand why. But if you look a little further, because of who? The dafka ba'oisan kisuyim sheheim kitzarim v'lmayim. You see it?
Yeah.
Only the kisuyim that have come to in the top, they're very small. They become very narrow. V'yesh ben ke'en chalal k'mo sheyesh b'haber kisuyim. V'od ef shelakancham. Yafa, you can't clean them out well. Shrei noki min Isaiah v'arisicha she'ol hasham. So you have be'en in the cover. Therefore, you machmir. So here, the shach says the whole chum here is because in the pot it's passable that what's gathering in the pot is be'en, in the cover is be'en. In the pot you clean out, so it's only beliyas. Beliyas after 24 hours are less palm of gam, it's mutter. But by the cover of the pot, it's possible you have be'en, and be'en even 24 hours later there's no din of less palm of gam. Be'en forever says less palm of shvach. So therefore, that's the chumrah over here, and the shach says.
Say it's with gum.
Salaf gum.
If it's something.
If it's be'en, there's no gum.
Be'en, even though it's 24 hours, it's salaf gum.
Yeah, but
and that's where it comes the chumrah of kisuyim. That's where the chumrah of a kisuyim comes from. So the Ramah ends off, and the shach ends off. It shouldn't be machmer al kach by kisuyim, only by those that are skinny on top. Ramaka vada the ena hachmer al kach by kisuyim mashkos v'dav v'chein peish v'sefer aperabravi v'samchal v'mralav v'b'shaf had chak v'shesh oit shum tzad l'hater oit b'kisuyim rochov oit rochov l'mayla near l'hakol. If you have a kisuyim that's wide or has a hole on top, we always make them. So this chumrah, the shach, only goes with the chumrah when the pots or the cover comes to a point on top where it's possible there's be'en over there. And the shach also says, and you'll have to have shishim from shishim. Because it spreads out into the cover, connecting shishim, and then it goes into the pot, and it's shishim from shishim. So that's the shach's chumrah over here in the cover. Says the Ramah Baita, if you take a cover of a hat. Now this is talking about a ben yemai, right? Till now we spoke about any ben yemai. Now the Ramah is going with the ikar din, a ben yemai. From lachu kisir yiseach mekdeir shel basar, from nasnu oiseach mekdeir shel chalav. If shnehem chamim, if both of them are hat, shnehem asurim. Because you have the bleas of both going back, and now it's only talking about with the umaziyah. We'll see in a second. The Ramah speaks to that. Then when you take the pot. From a cover from a flesh sugar pot, you put it on a milk sugar pot. Both of them are ben yemai. There's a milk in the pot now, and there was flesh in the pot you took it from. The zayah brings the blias of the cover into the pot, and you need shishim connected. Im yesh ma'achad b'gdeira shel basa v'chalav. If there was food in the basa pot and the chalav pot. If the kisser was cold, Fakdera Chama, and the Gdera was hot, Namish Neim Asurim. They're also both Asur, Tatoy Govar. Im Hischel Hazia. If the pot had Zayah, and over here the Pichada speaks out that this is also in the case with Shneim Chama. Not just in this case where the bottom is Chama, the top is cold, you need Zayah. Even in the case where Shneim Chama, you take a cover from a fleishing pot, and you put it on a milking pot, there's no Zayah, so how does it get from the cover to the pot?
Because the Zayah is the rotate.
So the Zayah is the rotate that brings it from one to the next. If Hischel Hazia Takas HaKisri, the Tatoy Govar. Because the Tatoy Govar, and therefore the bottom one makes even though the Kisri is cold, still Tatoy Govar.
Did you say that the halachas of the Tatoy Govar apply specifically when it's not on Ho'esh?
Who said Ho'esh?
Isn't this the case?
What's Ho'esh?
Oh, not talking about the...
They're Cham, it says.
You're assuming it's boiling.
No, Tat. Who says Ho'esh?
I'm just envisioning the case. The case is that you're sitting it's on the fire.
Yeah, so you need
have two pots and one bubble. You put one on top of the other.
Okay, but it's not.
I understand, but that's but okay. Well, the question isn't about but that is a principle, right? The Tatoy Govar doesn't apply.
Right.
So if this case was talking about, which is what you have two pots. You're cooking.
Yeah, if it's Al-Aish, you don't have to come onto the Tatoy Govar. You're right. Because even if you hold the l-liyu Govar, if it's Al-Aish, there's no Tatoy law.
Right. You said that before.
Right. So you're right. If it's something Al-Aish, the more they have to speak out because Tatoy Govar.
Right.
Yeah.
So would it make a difference than if one was hot and one was cold?
Anyway, it's also.
Al-Aish.
Anyway, it's also. The bottom one is cold?
Yeah.
Al-Aish?
Al-Aish.
No, if it's cold, then it's Al-Aish. So it has to be Aslat this way. The only time we said there's no din that Tatoy Govar and l-liyu Govar is that the bottom one was Tatoy Govar, was Al-Aish and it was Aslat this way.
Yeah.
No, if it didn't get hot yet, if it didn't get hot yet, it's still din l-liyu Tatoy Govar. It has to be Aslat this way. If it's Aslat this way and it's Al-Aish, then there's no din that Tatoy Govar and l-liyu Govar. But it has to be Aslat this way.
Because practically this question comes up. You have two pots. Whatever it's not all.
If you have, but it doesn't make a difference. It has to be Hischel Hazia. If it wasn't Hischel Hazia,
right.
If it's Hischel Hazia, then show you Aslat this way. If it's a cold pot, you're right.
So you can have a cold pot. Like let's say you took it out of the freezer and it was cold, and it's al-ha'esh, it's still really cold,
right.
So it could be mixtanim, what's on top of it.
Correct.
So you can still have a Tatoy Govar the other way,
correct.
Even though it's al-ha'esh.
Correct. If you take a hot cover and you put it on you took a pot, you filled it up with water, soup, whatever, and you put it on the fire, the pot didn't get hot yet. You might say you took a different cover and you put it on.
That's not correct. That's still cold.
That's still cold. And even though it's al-ha'esh, it won't have it's Tatoy Govar, it's cold, and it's
like why he spoke out to this.
Yeah, but you're right. If it's talking about Aish, and it's obviously we're talking about with Yatzal this boy, because it's Mazia, and l'chayr, if it's al Aish, there's no machlekes Tatoy Govar and l-liyu Govar.
Right.
So why is the more to speak out cause Tatoy Govar? That's a good question. If it's al Aish,
well, maybe he's
unless it's not al Aish, let's take it off the fire.
I envision this case.
Yeah, if it's al Aish, you're right. And there's a question on the remote. Why does it say Tatoy Govar? If the kisri is hot and the k'deira is cold, hakol shari. Everything is mutter. So truth is also a question.
What do you mean?
You need mazia. The only time we had before with the problem with the kisri is if it was mazia. Obviously, if the pot is cold, there's no zay over here. Okay. Hakol shari, raka Michel tzarech klipa. The Michel needs klipa. The efshar will call for it. The lav hakol shari. And here's a big question: why does the food need klipa? The reason why the food needs klipa basically say maybe.
That's like Govar.
And what? What happens?
For a moment when you put it on.
You put it on.
It sits up for a moment before it cools down.
And what happens?
So you need klipa because it absorbs the klipa.
It's dripped from the pot into the food. That's what happened?
Something like that has to be.
Behind the wall.
So the problem is like this. The problem here is.
I don't hear anything.
The problem is like this. Over here we're saying what happened when you took a kisui. You took a kisui and you put it on top of a cold pot. Now what are you worried about? What do you say? The pot is mutter. We said before the pot is mutter. Hakol shori. Everything is mutter. Why is everything mutter? Because the Torah Gava, it needs klipa. Why is everything mutter? Said before, take the cover, the hot cover on a cold pot, everything is mutter. Why is it all mutter? It's a Torah Gava, but you still need klipa. So klipa of the pot will become awesome. Right? So says the Shach, Sikon Vov, v'makis v'cham v'akderi tzeret hakol shari, ha'afila akaderi atzma shari l'chatchila, כשמכאן חוי מדיחו למעלה במקום שנגש בכיסוי ואף על פי שהלחלוכס היה חם, even the lachluchis on the cover was hot, כמקום שרי, it's mutter, you don't even need a klipa. Why? שמה שנפרש מן הכיסוי הבו ככלי שני ולא ידום מלאירוי לטיפה אחד חוי חם ומוסה פייסק ואין כלי ראשון. אקטן לשער דקה מוישוע. Says the Shach, what happens is that little bit of wetness that's on the cover of the pot has been like a cliche already. That's why we don't say Ad Mekalei Balaporta. You take the pot, it has some machluchas on the bottom of it, you take the cover, it has some machluchas that's hot, you put it on the kli, it should be Tatoi Gavar, but Ad Mekalei Balaporta. No, the machluchas is not a problem. Why is the machluchas a problem? Because it has been like a cliche. If that's the case, then if that lachluchas falls into the food, why is it after the food? Why isn't it clear? This is all the Chaim Asas Kash on the Ramah. And they say tzarechim. What do you need klipa for on the food? The Shach himself happens to argue on the Ramah. He holds that you'll need a klipa on the pot also, because the lachluchas which is on the cover has a din of a kli rishon, not a kli sheni. But the Ramah that holds it has a din like a kli sheni. So why does the Michel need a klipa? But that's what the Ramah says. If there's no Michel in the Kedera, Hakol Shari, Tavak Shtektes, Shalagu Zu Bezu, there's no food in the Kedera, everything is mutter. There's one more thing I have to speak out of here, which is the Rashba. If you look in the Taz, the Kohen Beis, he says, in the middle of the, not middle, towards the beginning of the Taz, he says, Kosev HaTur, B'Shem Rashba, Shom, She'em Bishel Yerokas B'Gdei Shel Basar, you see it? Kosev HaTur B'Shem Rashba? She'em Bishel Yerokas B'Gdei Shel Basar, She'em Mutter L'Vash L'Achar Kach Kavino, She'em Niklas Tama Basar Akal L'Sheni. There's a Rashba that holds that if you have a milk in a pot, right? You have a flesh in the pot, and then you cook Yerokas in the pot. What happens is you maklish the tam basar, and now you can cook milchiks in the pot. Why? There's something called hetetim. If you have isser in the pot and you cook Yerokas in the pot, it doesn't help. You have to have real hagolah. Take out the isser, because the isser, no matter what, always stays awesome. But here you have basar in the pot. You have meat in the pot. Meat's not awesome. Doesn't matter what they want to say. When the milk touches the meat, it becomes awesome. Once you cook Yerokas in the pot, what happens is niklash the time of the basar, and it's weak. Then now you can't make a new isser. We had it a few times already. To make a new isser is much harder than to keep an old isser. Mm-hmm. So here you want to make a new isser with the basar, tam basar they have in the walls of the pot. If you cook Yerokas in the pot, it weakens the tam basar, and therefore there's no din of basar b'chalav over here. You're allowed to cook milchiks in that pot, even the chatchila.
Even doesn't matter ben yomo and
doesn't make a difference.
Even if
it's a ben yomo, it's niklash koyach habasar, and now you're allowed to cook milchiks in that pot. That is a shittas Rashba. And now the Taz argues in it. The Taz argues in the Rashba. But the Shach passes like the Rashba. The Shach and the Kudas HaKesef over here passes like the Rashba. Let's find out where he says it over here in the long Shach. If you look in the beginning of the Shach, Chazzarah, a few lines in. Chazzarah Shem Rashba Shem Bishel Yirachas B'Gdeir Shel Basar Shem Mutal V'Asher B'Achar Kach Cholov Shekfar Nismayet Koyach Bela HaBasar. The koyach of the blias of the basar became weak. If you look at it towards a little further, it says V'Sifri Kesafti Plediktiku Klal the Vadai Dine Shel Rashba Emes Ubarer. The Shach says the din of the Rashba is Emes Ubarer, and he passes like the Rashba that if you cook your rockets in a pot that was a flesh of a pot, you're allowed to go ahead and cook milchiks in the pot afterwards. You don't need Hagala. Hagala, what's the code to cooking your rockets in Hagala? Hagala basically is, it has to be bubbling, the Shach says later on, and it has to be the whole pot. By Yerakis, you don't have to cook in the whole pot. Whenever you cook basar, you cook the same amount of Yerakis, and you maklish the koyach ha-basar, and then you can cook cholov in the pot afterwards, and that's the way the Shach paskins. Right, so we don't go with the Shach. So if you cook Yerakis in a pot of basar, we don't let you cook milk afterwards. But if it happens to be that by mistake you cooked milk afterwards in a fleshing pot, they cooked Yerakis in between, the stomach of the Rabbi will make it. We'll say it's okay, even though it's a ben yema. Yeah, the Chatzili won't say on that. Okay, Simicha Daled.
When we say this one said Shneim Chamim Shneim, and we're going to say Shneim Chamim Shneim Asurim, that means everything, the pot and the meat and everything else.
Everything else, yeah.
Everything.
Let's have shishim.
Sorry?
Let's have shishim, can I get the cover?
Right. I'm saying that everything.
Everything is awesome. Yeah. Okay, Simicha Daled. Din hatoichev kaf chaleves b'gdeir shel basar hayipcha. Hatoichev kaf chaleves b'gdeir. Someone sticks in a milchige spoon in a fleshige pot. Hayipcha, the opposite. B'sharin b'chol mash nitchav imenu b'gdeir. Whatever you stuck from that spoon in the pot, you b'shayin is shishim connected. Whatever you stuck into the pot. If a kaf ben yemoy, only if the kaf's a ben yemoy. If the kaf is not a ben yemoy, then the tafshil is mutter. Tanish a shim shaboy, b'chlirishayin teich ma'is la'eis, he used it for chlirishayin.
So is the Ramah giving a definition here of ben yoma?
In what? In the Hainu?
Yeah, when he says the Hainu shishim shaboy b'chlirishayin.
Correct. Yes. But he's adding on chlirishayin. That's the chlirishayin. Because if you use it for hot, klisheni, mashma mutter.
So we talked about this morning. So it's a big nafkamina ladin. I mean, most this is really talking about a ladle.
Correct. And most of them are klisheni. No, ladle is a klisheni. A ladle is stuck.
In other words,
we just talked about a ladle. That a ladle can be considered a klirisha.
No, but it's not.
But it was in the no. The case is not a spoon that you took out of your milking drawer, and then
you did a ladle.
No, it was something that was used for while it was aloesh, while it was stirring.
Right. So
according to this is not a regular spoon that comes out of your...
according to this, it's only talking about a ladle. Right. You stick it to the pot itself.
Right.
You take a spoon from your face sugar.
This is not right.
Even though it's a ben yemoy,
right, and
you stick it into your milk hot stuff, doesn't make a difference because that spoon was not used for klirishin. Right? That spoon was not used for klirishin.
That's why the Ramah had to say it.
Yeah.
So what happens to all of the? Where is the halacha for all of those? Where you take a spoon from the milk from the wrong.
So according to this Ramah, you take a spoon from a fleischiger spoon, and you stick it into a milchiger food, whatever it's soup, whatever it is, and it's remote the tafsha. The spoon will become awesome.
The spoon will become awesome.
But the tafsha should be mutter, even though there's no shishim connected to the spoon, because it's blias from a what? From a klisheni. And it's not even blias.
Anyway, we always assume that it's not.
No, but let's. I get it, but this halacha, as we talk about spoon, but it's not spoon coming from a.
According to Semicha, but there's two reasons why you have to macha by a spoon also. One is we'll see in Semicha we hold a klisheni also is beleya. There's only the more the shetasa.
Beleya and maflit.
You don't have to be maflit. He needs to be beleya.
The problem is also it has to be maflit.
No, but the house being maflit in a klirisha. you're stuck into a Kli Rishon. You're right, if you take your soup, if you have a fleishik of soup, right, you're eating by a table, you take a look at the spoon, so the soup is also a Kli Sheni. The soup now is a Kli Sheni.
Yeah.
So it's a second cooler. Here we're talking about the spoon that you're sticking into the soup. How did it get bleached into that spoon? So if that spoon was not stuck into your pot of Kli Rishon, it never got bleached originally from the opposite min. So you have two coolers. You're sticking your spoon into your fleishik of soup, you have two coolers. First of all, the soup now is a Kli Sheni. And second of all, the bleach in the spoon only was nivla from a Kli Sheni.
But if I'm stirring a pot that's Kli Rishon, I'm going to use a spoon that I usually use for Kli Rishon. The spoon that I eat with, it's a different kind of a spoon to the one that I stir with.
Right, so it's saying the stirring spoon may have an issue, but the eating utensils, the should never be a problem. Yeah, but the problem is like this. The problem is, this is only according to the Ramah, we hold that a Kli Sheni is not mavliya, not maflet. We will see later on, we didn't hold that way. The Shach and Taz argue in the Ramah, and they say even a Kli Sheni is mavliya, maflet. But if you stick a spoon into a Kli Sheni, it's berleya. It's berleya. And they stick it into the opposite min, it's maflet. So according to us, it has to be machmir.
So basically, so practically, do we look at this siman as being something which is only a ladle, or do we look at this siman as
according to the Ramah, it's only a ladle.
It's a ladle.
Practically, though, we hold Shach and Taz, even a spoon.
Even a spoon.
Even a spoon. Kli Sheni. We hold the Kli Sheni is maflet mavliya. Maflet oy mavliya.
From here, it's clear that
that's what I mean. According to the Ramah, it's only a ladle. But according to us, that we hold the Kli Sheni is maflet mavliya. We'll have even a spoon. We'll see in Semicha we're machmir for Kli Sheni also. So it's okay. So you stick a ladle or a spoon into the opposite min, in the shishim connected where it's stuck in. Yes, Michel, shemakav shemateches, mesharim mikuloi, mishum necham miktasecham kuloi. That if you stick, somehow we said only whatever amount you stick into the tafshil, in shishim connected. Yes, no. Even when you didn't stick in, cham miktasecham kuloi, and therefore it pulls out everything from the spoon, all the bleach throughout the spoon into the tafshil.
That atoned by mateches.
What about mateches? The svara rishayna ikir v'chein noyagim. The svara rishayna that we don't say cham mitzasei kula v'negeya maflet is ikir. That's the way we hold. That's the Ramah. So this is only cham mitzasei kula v'negeya, taking out the bleach from the spoon. If you look in the Shach Sivkon Gimel, the Shach says the svara rishayna ikir, the alpha gaf the cham mitzasei kuloi. This is not negay our simon over here. We care one thing over. We have a spoon that has bleach or flesh shakes throughout the whole spoon. However it got there. Now the question is, does Cham Kula say you pull out the bleach even from the top of the spoon that's not in the tafshil? So we care about the Cham Kula that it takes out the bleach. Because the Meister we hold that if you have a metal pot and you're cooking something in the metal pot, maybe it gives the bleach throughout the whole thing. If you take a metal spoon, you stick it into Isser, then we said the bleach may go out through the whole spoon. It's not toilet, it doesn't pull it out. But definitely the bleach goes throughout the whole spoon. Here the Shach is saying that it doesn't even go throughout the whole spoon. The Shach says it over here, and the question is why it throws it in over here.
So you're saying that we pass them like the Magen Avraham?
We pass them that it goes throughout the whole spoon.
The sheet of the Shas doesn't go all the way up.
Right. We pass it the Magen that does go up. But we hold like the Ramah over here that doesn't pull it out. That means if you take a flesh of a spoon that has bleach throughout the whole spoon, you stick it into a tafshil, a milk like the tafshil, you only need keneged where you stuck it to the spoon. Because even though cham kuloi, it won't pull out the bleach on the top of the spoon.
That's what we said, because the cham only pushes it into this.
Right, but it won't pull it out. Right, and
but it is hard enough that on the top that if you had the opposite mean going against the top of that spoon, it would be hot. If it was still in the tasha.
Then that would push it in.
But if you're absolutely touching the spoon?
Yeah.
The top, is it hot or is it not hot?
It's in the pot.
So chametz tzedakah cham kula, I don't know if it's beleya, if something else touches it.
Yeah, so from the outside it's going to be beleya.
Yeah, it could be. That could be.
Because it's chametz tzedakah cham kula. Even if you don't hold,
it's mafsud.
Right, it's still going to be.
Correct. Because it goes directly into it. But this is all if that part of the spoon is cold. Chametz tzedakah cham kula, only for mitzvahs it's cold. For mitzvahs it's hot. Everyone agrees that it's hot. Right? If you take a spoon, you stick it into a hot soup, and for a little while, it gets hot at the end of the spoon. Everyone agrees that you need to connect the whole spoon. Right. It's not cham, it's not cham kula. The whole thing is cham. We're talking about a case only where the top of the spoon is cold.
If the ladle have a plastic handle, how are you going to go for?
No, the plastic doesn't go. Only metal. There's no cham, it's not cham kula in plastic. Huh?
Not the klipa even?
No, the plastic doesn't go.
Stop at the plastic handle, right?
Yeah, it doesn't go. It doesn't travel.
So the shach doesn't hold by cham.
Right.
And we paskin.
We hold.
No, he does. He does paskin. But we said that even the shach's going to hold chametz tzedakah cham kula. It's just about the blias that don't.
Right. If something touches, yeah.
No, we're not talking.
There's three things. Right. There's three things here. Chametz tzedakah cham kula. Chametz tzedakah cham kula can mean that the other part is hot. That it could be, if something touches it, it could be beleya. That everyone agrees to.
Right.
Then you have chametz tzedakah cham kula. That the blias on the bottom travel up.
All the way up.
And then the third thing is that the blias on top come down when it's hot on the bottom. Our sim is talking about the blias on the top coming down.
That doesn't happen.
That we don't hold on.
So we need 60 against what?
Only the part of the spoon is inside.
Right.
Now the shach speaks out in Sifkon Aleph. Michel Chomashanet Chav Le'edinan Kam Nofek B'nei. And then he says, "Either come on." Yadinan Kama Bola. Sorry. Dem Ene Borle Ad Kama Tocha Misham Bistam. Derech Litcha behind Ad Rosh HaKaf. If you don't know how much the spoon was stuck into the pot, you do an assumption how much it is, and the Pesach Shuvah speaks out of it in Sifkon Aleph that a person could say, "I know how much I stuck in," even though most of the lava daita the inch of the Ramye, B'shasi did it, he wasn't thinking about it, but since he knows what he's doing, so we could rely on him. If he said only this amount of the spoon was stuck in, it's mutter, especially if you see that the spoon is only dirty to a certain part, then it could be semich on that. Steve Page. I'm talking about kaf and shnei pamen. So here we're talking about you stuck in a spoon, a flexible spoon one time into a pot. However, you stuck in it twice. Stuck in it once, you took it out, you stuck it a second time. I'm talking about kaf and shnei pamen. You don't know between tzarech baseball and shishim. So let me give a quick hakdam over here to the sif. The halacha is, if you have isser that fell into heter, any isser falls into a heter, the shishim levaploi. You have 60 times. This is a 1/40th of the. I mean, the 100 times the amount it fell in. It's bottled. Then more isser fell in. So the halacha is, if you never knew the first isser fell in, it's as if they fell in together. The bittul doesn't kick in until you know that it happened. So if Issa falls in once, Issa falls in a second time, then it's tarif, and it's asa. That's given. How about if you know in between, so it's already bottled, it falls in again, then it's not mitztarif. Here you have to come out to something called choyze v'nir. Even though it was already bottled, it falls in, Issa. The second time, it reawakens the old Issa. Even though it was bottled, it's choyze v'nir. So it's two steps. Loi noida bentayim, so it's falling together. Noida bentayim, you have to come on to choyze v'nir. Now, choyze v'nir is only, the main thing of choyze v'nir is only min b'shein yamina. Min b'shein yamina is a choyze v'nir, because you taste it. That means, I have Isser falling into, chela falling into potato soup, so the chela you can taste. More chela falls in again, it's mitzaref, because now I'll taste the chela in the potato soup. I'll taste it.
It has to be the same min that creates.
Yeah, it has to be the same thing, because there's two different things. And bottom says you'll never taste. You'll never taste. Let's say you have chela.
It has to be the same thing, but that's right. But min chela.
Yeah. It has to be the isser is the same isser that fell the second time into a elimina. If it's dam v'chela we saw in Tanubis, then the opposite. The mevatim zeh. It's true mevatim zeh. So that's the case of choyze v'nir.
You said it has to be a dia ben time.
That is the time you have to come out the Chayzer V'nir. Only if it's a Yediyah Ben time, so it was bottle, so you have to come out the Chayzer V'nir. If there's no Yediyah Ben time, you don't have to come out the Chayzer V'nir. It's as if it was never bottled yet. So here you have a case. In talk of a copper, you take a spoon, you stick it in 2 times. But you didn't know about it in between. You need 2 times 60. Why? The first time you stick in the spoon, we said the milk comes out into the pot, and Basa fills up its space. You have Hanan in the spoon, you take it out, becomes Hanan, you put it back in.
The Hanan is now in.
So now you need 60 connected to the Tam Basa. Right? So now, that's what the Shach speaks out over here. Tam, look at Shach speaks out. Dal Tam Kosfu, Hagos Mordechai, the Chulin, the Michel Tzach Samach Neged HaCholov, Chashir the Melisha by Ma'at Cholov, Chaytzioi, Minakdei Nasat Kol HaKaf Mevela, Hibosar B'Cholov. Kaf Tzach Lavat LaKaf, B'Pam HaBeis. Now you're putting it in a second time, you have Chanan, you have Issa B'Sar B'Cholov with the spoon, and you Shishim to Mevato the Issa B'Sar B'Cholov. Now the Shach speaks out, how about if you took it out and stuck it in a third time? Do you need again Shishim? So the Shach speaks out, you don't need Shishim a third time. If you look in the Shach, there's a near the high time of Kosovo to Mechaber and talk about Beisbam, and talk Beisbam Samach, but the Kosovo stomach and talk of Harbe Bam and talk Samach. The Chol Pam Shum, the other the Tamai, the Spiro led the Lamir Chanam, Rak Basa B'Cholov, only a Basa B'Cholov. So the first time, you take it out, you stick it back in, you have Issa Basa B'Cholov. The second time, when you're taking it out, what do you have in there? You have an Issa Basa B'Cholov, making the Basa Asim. That's already Shari Surim. That already is a din of Shari Surim, or Masil later on, it's in Tzayadalit, you see Chav Beis. It's a question if someone is Bomit Basa B'Cholov, if it has a din of Shari Surim or not. Here the Shach is going, but something that's Bomit Basa B'Cholov is a din like Shari Surim. So now, B'Kitza, what do you have? You have over here, the third time, it's already Shari Surim, there's no din Chanan on the spoon. That's the Ramah, that's the Mechaber, and look at Sifka and Hey, also very important. For the Noide Ben Tayim, the Noide Ben Tayim, for a Spatel Rishon, Rishuv Gam Pam Beis Bottle Bois Sama. For Avagav the Mashma, that's what he says in the Kamon. The Nofok Zayis Isel Tech Samach, there's some head like Hakot of the Nofok Zayis Isel Choyze Venir. I feel him in Bemina, I feel Noide Ben Tayim, so why do you say over here Choyze Venir? So here is a question what the Shach answers. I'll tell you quickly what the Shach answers. The Shach says basically over here is Min Beminoi. We don't say Chayzer V'nir Mekra Adin, it's only a Gzeira. Over here, what are you worried about? You're going to stick it in a second time. A second time is always going to be Min B'minoi. It's never possible to be Min B'shein Minoi. Because it's the same path that Isser is coming from the Basar. The whole Isser is coming from the Basar. So that's what the Shach answers. So here he won't say Chayzer V'nir. So the Rabbi says, V'yeshayim v'sagi v'pam echad shishim v'chein noyagin. It's enough 1 time 60 v'chein noyagin. And what's the reason? Why is there more argue over here? Says the Shach, because the Harbe Poiskin Spiro lehem, the Bedover HaBalua loyam min chanan. Like we had last week, that in Belias Kalim, Lav Dafka we say chanan. And Harbe Poiskin hold that Belias Kalim we don't say chanan. So over here also it's a din Belia, we won't say chanan. We always say Chanan by Blis HaKelim. Why over here all of a sudden are we Michel? So Shach doesn't speak it out over here. Here you have to see the Pim Godim.
That's the Gura that we spoke out last time by the pot.
So what? Yeah, that some people that hold, they don't say Chanan by Blis of a pot. So why here are we Michel? We possibly do say Blis in a pot.
No, but
Chanan.
The Gura spoke out by the B'Shas HaChag. Oh, that was B'Shas HaChag.
B'Shas HaChag, here's not B'Shas HaChag.
Oh, the case of their...
Yeah, the Gura said Erev Shabbos was Michel.
Erev Shabbos he was Michel.
Yeah, here's not B'Shas HaChag.
For that same reason.
Yeah, for the same reason, right. Okay. But here, why are we Michel? He's taking a spoon 2 times. Why are we Michel? You're right, there are people that hold they don't say Chanan by Blis of a pot, by Blis. So why here are you Michel? It's very important to see the people got them over here. Quickly in Tzadi Beis, the Mishpah says, oh, the Tzadi Dalet means the Sisei Das, Sivkot and Vav. Tzadi Dalet, Sisei Das, Sivkot and Vav. Find it here.
Yeah, v'yesh omrim.
Yeah, it says over here, see if you provide big wish, I am shach, but not kaimel on the hakil, after noida, v'loy mahane b'kav, v'loy v'boye b'kav this base tamim, echot, there's only the blue kli lenas in the vela, but after I'm not like kaimel and can the kamam b'tav the ches, the kamakim is loy mitzvah tam, the ein shame kli rishon, the achar shoytzia kaf leikon. There's another kul over here. The reason why, when you pull it out, the spoon, what's the chash here? He's stuck in the spoon once, the chalav went out, and Basa took his place. While it's in the pot, there's no problem. I didn't speak this out before, I should have spoken it out before. While it's in the pot, you don't say, oh, the Basa comes in, it becomes chanan. Because the Basa is attached to the rest of the Basa of the pot, you don't say chanan while it's still in the pot. Once you take it out of the pot, now this Basa in the spoon, it becomes chanan. Once it's out of the pot, it's very klisheni. That's another reason why over here you don't need shishim. Because we stick it back into the pot, so there's Basa and Basa again. It never became also Basa b'chalov, because they take it out of the pot, it's klisheni. In the spoon, it can't become chanan out of the pot, only in the pot. In the pot, it won't become chanan. That's another reason why we make it over here. Says the shach, the shach here is the makel. We don't say chanan by bliss of a kli. Why? Because they have another heter that the only way you can become chanan is outside of the pot, and outside of the pot is the din of a kli sheni. I hope that wasn't too fast the last leaf.
Me?